Hello and welcome to another video, and today I will be showcasing my Frost heavy explosive arrow Huntress. So this is going to be one of the new builds that I've been testing out recently. And recently the developers added the new rebus to the game, so there's a lot more stuff to choose from, as you can see here. A lot of different weapons. So I didn't know what to go with, but this was the one I chose for some reason. I just looked at it. It had some really good multipliers. So the reaver we are using is Slasher, the Shivering Bow of Winter. So what is very good about this, you may ask? First thing is the Ice Imbued skills deal increased damage, 169 currently at level 100, and it can go up to 175. And also Ice Imbued skills and Ice effects deal 169% increased damage to enemies affected by chill or frozen. Now that is insanely powerful on itself. Like just the base bow on its own is very powerful because it has a lot of base damage, as you can see, 4,000 to almost 5,000. It can get over 5,000 with enough affinity. But that's not all. If you turn on the primordial version, you see that you get this. Winds of Winter is now equipped and at max rank. And that is from the Ancestral tree, which is this one. This on its own doesn't do anything, but the thing that it says on the Reaper is the colder it gets, the stronger Slasher gets, which is the bow itself. So our Ice Imbued skills and Ice effects deal increased damage based on temperature, up to 676%. That is nuts. That is absolutely disgusting. And I will tell you why. And the negative effect, like the primordial malediction, is like it's so laughably little of a downside that it doesn't really matter, because we're basically only focusing on like chill and freeze. Actually, just chilling is all we want. And then another thing that the Reaper gives us is chill now lasts indefinitely, so it will like never turn off. And chill now applies 95 minus movement speed to enemies. So when you're playing this build, it feels like everything is already frozen when you get near them, because of a few tricks that we use from the ancestral tree. Now, back to the effect of Ice Imbued skills. We get like 7.7 times more effect of the Ice Imbued skills deal increased damage, and that Ice Imbued skills and Ice effects deal increased damage against chilled enemies. So we triple dip, essentially. Maybe quadruple dip. I don't know. It's crazy. Absolutely disgusting. It's probably the best weapon in the game. I'm not sure if they even thought about this. It's absolutely disgusting. And that is pretty much why we can make a laughably low amount of base damage into millions upon millions of damage. Like 50,000 to 100,000 on its own would be kind of bad on a normal build. But because of all those multipliers we get from the bow itself, we essentially deal millions of damage per arrow. So it's crazy. Very, very, very powerful. Attributes, we are just focusing on dexterity for as much attack speed as possible. We get willpower all the way up to this, so we can get even bigger explosions with heavy projectile, arrow, whatever it's called. We take 10 into savagery for the Reaper multipliers, so we get a bit higher base damage on our ability. And then the last points into bravery, just for a bit of movement speed, like 1.5%. it's nothing. But dexterity is just a very nice one to have. You can probably do something different if you want to, but this is just what I chose, and I wanted to scale as much attack speed as possible. So that is what I took for the attributes. Let's see. Let's go over the ultimatum. This is where we get our additional projectiles from. This one grants us just 2 additional, and having 2 additional doesn't really have any sort of downside except for maybe 20% reduced damage, I think it is, which is a multiplicative modifier. I'm pretty sure it says, yeah, projectile damage is reduced by 10% for each additional arrow, all the way down to 90% if you have like 10. I mean 9 additional, so you would only deal 10% of your damage, but with 2 additional with 20% reduced damage, it's essentially 2. Is it 2.7 or 6 times more damage? I can't remember. Maybe I'm completely wrong here, but it's definitely a very nice damage multiplier. Okay, let's see. Let's talk about the ancestral tree. Let's go over it quickly. So first things first, we are speccing into air conditioner. This is our main source of, actually not our main source of defense, but it's one of our defenses. So with the amount of area and aura effect, we get it all the way down to 90% attack speed multiplier on enemies nearby. This means that they take like 10 times longer to attack us. So nothing pretty much hits us. Everything that is a melee enemy doesn't hit us, ever. It doesn't exist. And then we have this one with Naya's shield, which makes us able to chill everything around us, and that chill will then last forever. And it will also apply the 95 reduced movement speed to enemies. So these two together is insanely powerful. It feels like we freeze enemies because they become so slow. So that's very nice. This one, elemental boost, just for traveling. We get this one, projectile speed, so it's more snappy and fast when we use heavy projectile arrow. Very nice. It also grants us a bit of pierce, knockback, armor penetration. Armor penetration is, I think it's alright. I'm not 100% sure. But it's something. So, this one, frostbite spikes. This can be very powerful against bosses because you can see our temperature is plus 20 degrees. And when we have that, we don't get any benefit from the primordial benediction modifier, where you get all the way up to 600%. So with this ancestral passive, we can essentially just spam it. I'm not sure why we can spam it. Like I feel like it's unintentional. But if we click on the frostbikes, you can see that we suddenly get like, it gets very cold very quickly. So we get up to max minus temperature, and then we can just go to town with our bonus and deal insane amount of damage. Let's put on these auras as well. So yeah, if you have trouble keeping it up, which you will not have because of Naya's shield, because every time you chill an enemy nearby, that essentially goes to the buff on the temperature scaling. And when you get that, you get all the multipliers up and running. Very powerful. Next thing is icy weapons. This is perfect because we need ice imbued skills to, I mean, we need our primary and secondary to be ice imbued, and it's pretty much the reason why we get this amount of damage on the build. So this is a necessity. And then the last thing I took was just lethal force for some crit chance and ancestral strike chance, plus some damage to both of them. So yeah, that's a pretty nice bonus. And then we use the, what is it called, the stone here? the first stone apparently. We obviously take Dark Ritual. This is pretty much unbeatable on any build, pretty much, I feel like. If you're using your primary or secondary, this is basically best in slot every time. So I feel like they might have to change it someday. Like it's just so good. Like 50% more damage, like multiplicative damage. That's quite a lot. So that is for the Ancestral tree, and then let's go over the rune system first. So I've just picked the Nimble Warrior and stacked a bunch, and I mean a bunch of attack speed. So we can use this one, the activation rune of Smelleran. So we have a 7 seconds cooldown and then 15 seconds uptime on the Nimble Warrior. So it's like 66% up at all times, where we get a massive, and I mean a massive amount of damage here as well. We get a big multiplier, like a 2.26 times multiplier with our primary skill, and then we get crit chance, we get ancestral strike chance, we get a bunch of crit damage and a bunch of ancestral strike damage as well. With this, I've come up to like quarter billion damage in a single hit. I think it's called. Isn't that what you call it? Quarter? Yeah, a quarter of a billion in a single hit. And I could push that even further if I wanted to, but I feel like it's not necessary. I'm at this point where it feels like it's a great place to be. And the way we scale the attack speed is through pure modifiers. Now this is not something you can get right off the bat on a character. You have to play in the Slorm Temple, I think it's called. Yeah, the Slorm Temple. And you essentially farm up some points so you can get better pure stat items that drop from enemies and the Great Forge and so on. And yeah, that's why we have these massive attack speed modifiers. And I will come over that in a bit later. And then we use the enchantment rune of Hagen to buff the Nimble Warrior rune. I feel like it's just so insanely powerful, these two. Especially because we can get the attack speed that we get on this character. But if you're new to the game, it might take quite a while to get these sort of stats. It took me quite a lot of farming to get them. And you can get it on your gloves as well, if you want to go even further and beyond. Okay, so gear pieces. I went with as much increased area size and increased area of effect on gear pieces. Mostly area of effect size. I feel like that was just more fun to do and get the huge explosions. And you can see I have two very powerful equipments here with the helmet and the amulet, where I get a bunch of area size. And what we also scale is just more attack speed on everything. The helmet is very powerful because it grants us a guaranteed pierce on the first enemy hit. That's very nice. Our shoulder, we get just a bunch of Reaper damage multiplier. The bracelet is just for attack speed, crit damage, and social strike damage, you name it. You can see what I have picked for the low stat modifiers. I'm not sure what you call them. The attribute, the Reaper, and the mastery is for heavy explosive or smoke bomb. Gloves, I picked the Harmony, Winds of Harmony, I think it's called. The gloves that grants a lot of cooldown, 21%. It's basically just, I feel like they could just name it attack speed, because it's basically the same thing in my book, at least. I'm not sure, because they work the same way. It's kind of like a multiplier. Rings, I went with more area size on the rare, the epic stats. And we went with more attack speed. The evasion can actually be something different. I'm not sure why I have the evasion. I don't even have that much evasion. That's kind of flawed, if you ask me. I could definitely just put... what could I put here? Because life is not very necessary. I'm not sure. You could probably take life and then feel a bit more safe if you actually get hit. But I will get over that later, because the defense on this character is not just the chill and minus movement speed to nearby enemies. Our boots, lots of life, lots of movement speed. Other ring, we get the Ancestral Legacy. It doesn't really affect us that much on this character, but it can be nice on some points in the Ancestral tree, but not on this character. Here we picked more area size, area of effect. And yeah, I feel like the rest of the pieces make a lot of sense. And yeah, on the chest we got lucky with some more area size. You don't need that much, I would already say that, because the area size on our heavy projectile arrow is 7.25 yards. That's crazy big. Like, you don't really need that much. It already feels great at 4 radius, if you ask me. Okay, let's go over the skill, which is heavy explosive projectile. First, in rank 1, we take damage against elite enemies, just for more smoothness. We take this one. This is pretty much the most important thing with heavy explosive projectile, because you don't have to aim, essentially. It feels very nice to play around. And then you don't have to aim, pretty much. Feels very good. And then we have the massive heavy explosion of massiveness node in rank 3. This one is, it says 50% increased area size, but I'm pretty sure it's a multiplicative modifier, so that's pretty big. So you get 50% more area on this one, and that feels very nice to have. Next thing is trained marksman at rank 4 for more ancestral strike chance. That's just nice to have. And the last one is, I feel like the bottom row, like rank 5, is pretty bad. Pretty bad. I took this one, buy one get two. Heavy explosive projectile can be recast, but when you finally recast it, you only fire one projectile. So, it's like getting one additional projectile if you have 100% recast chance. I'm not sure if that's necessary. So, rain of arrows, we don't use that actually. It's just there to be there. I'm pretty sure we don't use it. Yeah, we pretty much torment it all the time, I'm pretty sure. So this is just a filler. You could probably take, I'm not sure if there's any, no, you cannot get that. I mean, for the memes, you could equip Immortal Arrow and then have a Wandering Arrow minion running around doing something. Probably nothing. But that's up to you. And then, Mistwalker. This is where the juice comes from, with the defense, at least. So, Smokescreen makes you able to get a lot of crit chance for free on the next attack you use. And that's why we are pretty much constantly triggering Smoke Mine, as you can see here. It's triggering all the time. It has a quarter of a second cooldown, so it's pretty much up all the time. And then we put on some duration, so it lasts for 8 seconds instead of 3. And then this one, the Fairy Dust, is, oh my god, it's such a nice defensive node to take on a character. Because when you're in smokescreen, like this, as I am right now, you cannot be killed. Like, there's nothing that can touch you, pretty much. You can walk on corpse explosions and what is it called? Dark seals. I'm not sure what they're called. The shadow seals or whatever. They're usually some pretty annoying things to work around. The only thing that is kind of scary is lava, because let's say you shoot once and then you stand on lava ground, you will get a burn stack on you, and that can pretty much kill you very fast in the higher levels of what is it called? It's called levels, battlefield levels. At Ref X, I'm pretty sure it's called. So, what did I get to? I can't remember. Oh yeah, masteries. So yeah, this one pretty much the best thing you can get from like the smoke screen. It's not the most important, I would say, but it's definitely insanely good. Okay, so another thing is just precision of the mists. You get 50% crit. And then this one is irrelevant. All of these are pretty much like bad. You can't really use those. Oh yeah, and another thing with rank 4, you can get Golden Strike. So every time you deal a critical strike on an enemy, you have a 50% chance to drop Goldus. If you use this in the Great Forge, you can get some pretty insane numbers on the Goldus counter. So this is very recommended in that regard. So here we get the Champion of Resilience. This makes us get Air Conditioner up and running with all the effects, so we can get it closer to the 90% attack speed. Less multiplier. And this one is just an illusion, because we don't get anything from it. We could have scaled some armor. I mean, what is it called? Evasion is equal to 60% of your armor. So yeah, if you had some armor, you could get some evasion out of it. But we are not scaling that on this character, sadly. And then the last rank is irrelevant. This doesn't do anything to us. So yeah, I think that is pretty much about it on this character. It's doing pretty well. I would say the only drawback... Oh yeah, wait. Mistwalker. There's another thing. It has a stat where it says, the next skill you cast, primary or secondary, deals 264% increased damage. That is a lot of damage. Like, that's 3.6 times more damage on attacks. So when you're in Mistwalker form, Smokescreen form, I'm not sure what it's called, you deal pretty much a bunch more damage, essentially. So that's why we are scaling so much attack speed, so we can keep it up at pretty much all time. And yeah, that's very nice. Feels great. Very powerful character. And last thing, the new Reaper here is probably the best weapon in the game. I'm just saying it now. And yeah, I don't think they thought it through, pretty much. And I just tried it out. It seemed good, especially for a skill like this, where you can don't really get that much multipliers from the skill itself. You don't get any multipliers, pretty much. You just get area. So yeah, and it has a high base damage. That's pretty much about it for the ability. If you use this Reaper on, let's say, Arcane of the... No, what is it called? Orb of the Arcane Master on the Mage, you'll get some nasty, and I'm saying nasty, numbers, because you could also scale elemental damage, which you could get on gear, or in, let's see, maybe this, where you can scale it flat, or through mana log, I think it's called. Where's it? Mana? There's the mana log. So if you had a lot of mana, you can then mana log this and get a lot of flat. There's loads of possibilities with the elemental versions as well, and I feel like they can outshine Reaper version. quite easily actually. So this is actually like a soft character with this Reaper. So if you can say that, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's a very powerful Reaper that they added. It's probably going to be nerfed at some point when people start playing it. If anybody plays this game anymore, I'm not sure. Oh yeah, I forgot to show the 1, 2, and 3 stats, so you can see what my modifiers are. So you can see at my attack speed modifier, I have 97.6%. Like that is, like let's say, when you put it into perspective on a cooldown, it only takes like 2.5% of the time compared to like 100%. You can see my multipliers here. So it goes down quite a lot with this. Another thing is the area size modifier. I have 222 currently. This is pretty overkill if you ask me. You can get like 150 realistically and still do fine. And you can get maybe more area of effect if you wanted to, but I went with 74, which is currently 74% multiplicative modifier, like 1.74 times more. So that's kind of nice. Another thing, projectile speed 85, knockback on projectiles is kind of relevant. We didn't go with the melee recast chance that much. Another thing, we have a lot of elite damage percentage because that makes it easier to kill off some tough guys. Armor penetration, I'm not sure how much this affects our character, but we have 75% of it. So if something has like a crazy amount of armor, we pretty much ignore it. And then you can see our crit and ancestral strike chance here. It's probably a bit higher on the skill itself because of some modifiers like this, 6%, and then we have our nimble warrior stone right here that grants us 5% ancestral strike chance and then 15% crit chance. So that was pretty much just what I wanted to showcase. I feel like that was kind of important as well. So here you have it. Tab 2 and 3, because you probably saw this one a bunch already. So just if you were curious, I feel like that was a very important topic as well. So yeah, but yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope you liked the video, and if you did, you might as well subscribe, maybe, I'm not sure. That's up to you, but see you in the next video.